Hey guys, welcome back to another 3D printing video. So today we're going to be doing a video on this Ender 3 Pro. So we're going to fix a few issues and we're going to do quite a few little upgrades here and there. Hope you enjoy the video, so let's get started. Alright, so in the last video we put this printer together, and as you can see there's already something printed on the bed, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So as I started playing around with it and kind of, looking at it a little bit more detail, I realized there was quite a few issues that need to be addressed. And one of them was the same thing I had on the Ender 2, which is the Z-axis screw, which is also misaligned on this printer. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so here we are at the T-rod here, or the Z-rod. Also has the misalignment issue where it is too close to the frame here, and it's kind of like in a little bit in the wrong position. So unfortunately, it seems like a lot of these printers have this issue, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but whenever the x-axis go down here, and as the lower it gets, the much more pressure there is on the fitting here, on this fitting, it kind of starts to bind up pretty hard as it goes down. So thankfully there's a fix for that, and it's this little bracket here. So this is the same one I used on the Ender 2. I went ahead and printed it out, and what this does, it gives it a 1mm shim here on the back side. And it also has it where it can move side to side on the top here. So what we need to do is take this old bracket off and replace it with the new one. And that's pretty simple. There's 2 Allen screws here and then 2 on top. This piece should just come right off. And here you can see they're pretty similar in their design. So now we'll be able to move, as you can see right there, side to side a little bit here. So installing it's pretty simple. We're just going to put it in there. We're going to start these screws but not tighten them. So now this should be able to move back and forth pretty easy. As you can see, that's how much travel it has. Let's go ahead and push this x-axis down. And we want to go all the way down till we get to the switch. And the motor right now is happy exactly where it is. And that's where you want to tighten it. So just give it a little wiggle, make sure it's not jammed, and let it be right where it wants to be. And then we'll tighten these little screws. So just by judging on the holes here, the motor definitely moved that way. I would say at least 1.5 millimeters or so, maybe the 2 millimeters. So we can go ahead and snug these up really good now. Alright, so once those are nice and tight, we can go ahead and try the axis here. And it seems like it's pretty good. So obviously it's not naturally supposed to run by you pushing it, but that's just the test to see how smooth it is. So all we're doing is we're letting the rod here be in its natural place, that way it can run more smooth and not bind. So the next part, what I did, and the reason I did this, because I didn't like where the home was homing on this Z-axis switch right here. The bottom of the nozzle was not close enough to the bed, and so what was happening is I would have to loosen the knobs here a whole bunch in order to even get close to the knob. So what I did to fix this is, instead of this sitting on top of this channel here, I just took this piece off. Well, let me just take it off and show you guys. So this piece right here, you can see that I chopped this part right here, and this is just basically, it was protruding past this piece where it would sit on top of this frame right here. So what I did is I just cut it off and lowered it where it was level with the frame, this part right here, instead of being on top of the frame right here. So basically exactly this much I lowered it. And that gave me the perfect amount of adjustment on the bed, and I wasn't going down too low with the nozzle. So to me, this was definitely a necessary kind of mod, because if your bed is way too loose, little tiny little touches or vibrations move these knobs and it gets misaligned really easily. Alright, so it's back where it needs to be, and it should be fine where it is. So the next issue I had, and this was pretty much immediate, right when there started being retractions, meaning this motor would spin backwards to pull the filament out, and then forwards again, this tube would start sliding inside this coupling. And it's so unfortunate that they haven't got this stuff right. It's just weird to me, honestly. A company that's been making printers for a while, and well-known company, and they can't get their couplings right between the PTF tube here. So I would highly suggest that you check this right away when you have your printer. And so you could do a few things. You can either change this coupling to something better, but if you want to fix it in the meantime, is you want to print out something. So these little clips are just little spacers. They go between that fitting right here where it doesn't let it move around. And so this definitely helps. And it's a nice little addition, but here's the unfortunate part. Even though I clipped this in and it's really tight in there, this thing still has a little bit of give. So that just tells me that, you know, this coupling here is not good at all. I don't know if it's the tubing that's defective or the coupling here. But if I didn't put this clip in here, that thing would move a lot. Technically, probably not a big deal, but you know, something you want to consider changing if you have the same issue also. So the next thing I want to talk about is this screen here. So on the back of the screen, there's the circuit board and it's not covered. And I would prefer to cover it because I do like to put my hands underneath. So I want to go ahead and cover that up. All right, so the two bolts are out. And here we have the back of the screen. So here we have a speaker and here we have the ribbon plug. So on Thingiverse, there is a thing you can print out, like a cap that goes on here, but I wanted one that would work with the screws that are already here. And here's what it looks like. So this thing printed out really good. So the Ender 2 printed this thing out. And it turned out okay overall. There is one spot here where it's a little bit weird. It's on this side right here. If I can show you right there, there's like a little bit under extrusion or something going on. Other than that, it looks good. So it should fit on here just like that. And your plug is still accessible right here, and your speaker has a little hole here where you can still hear it. Honestly, I don't like that speaker because it's too loud. So I'm going to loosen these bolts here, take them out, and put this cover on. And as you can see, the cover has the mountings for the original bolts. So hopefully that'll work and we can tighten it up and it'll be perfect. I'm going to throw our little bolts right in there. All right, looks like it started and everything's fine. All right, so I'm super happy about this. This is a very nice little upgrade and it's very easy to do. You just print this lid and you just do supports from the bottom and it'll put supports inside these holes and then they just pop right off. And there's a little support here. So it's a pretty easy print and it's a really nice little addition. All right, so before I put this back, I actually printed something else. It's these little clips here, and what these clips do is they hold the ribbon cable here to the channel back there. So the way that should work is you should just be able to put the clip over it like that. Hopefully you guys can see, and then just clip it right in, just like that. And I printed out 2 of these. I'm thinking 2 probably is enough. You could print out more if you want. So I'm gonna clip another one on there. So I'm just gonna go corner to corner, and that's gonna hold my cable nice and straight, and it's not gonna be dragging on the ground or getting underneath the channel there on the bottom. That's actually a pretty nice little upgrade there. So now we can plug in our screen and permanently mount it back right where it goes. So now we have a little cover for the back screen and a nice looking ribbon. So the next parts we're going to be looking at is 3D printed parts, and here is one of them right here. This is a knob that goes on top of the extruder motor here. This is a great little knob. Not only does this knob actually give you a visual when it's turning, you can see that, you know, things are moving, but also it's very functional in feeding in the filament. So especially if you're trying to push it in while you're loading new filament, you know, to ooze it out. And this is a really easy print. As you can see, it's just a little knob with a hole in it, and it goes right on top of the extruder really nicely. So I would say this is a must upgrade right here. So the next part is this hole right here. So we have a pretty large hole here that we can put a tool tray in, and the cool part is there's quite a few tool trays available, and I wanted something simple, not too complicated, and so I printed out this one right here, and it turned out really good overall. And I'm really impressed with the bottom of this thing. Like, it's pretty much perfect. So the Ender 3 Pro here did a really good job overall. There is a few like little layer shifts, but they're not terrible. Plus this is a silver filament, so it's, you know, you can notice all those things very easily. But check out that bottom though, that looks pretty awesome. So in the way this tray goes is it goes between this channel here and the channel right here. And now that I'm looking at it, I think the only way to get it in there is I'll have to take the screen off, and I might actually have to take off this bracket here also. So let's go ahead and pop the screen off. Yeah, I don't think that's possible. It's not gonna go in. All right, so we need to take this little tension rod off here. That's not that big of a deal. So once you take the 4 bolts out, this should just pop right up. And there we go. So now we should be able to just slide this thing in. I think that's how it was designed. Yes, it is. Look at that, guys. Perfection. So it fits in there perfect, then it's definitely snug. It does move, but it's a little snuggy. Wow, I love how much space that is. That is great. So now all we got to do is just put everything back. Make sure you tighten this belt pretty well. So it looks like that the display is not in the way of this thing, so it could slide out all the way to here. So if when you move your bed all the way back, you got the whole access to this thing all the way down, so to the back here. That's very nice. And now we have a tray here in between where this huge hole was that didn't do anything. And that's pretty cool because we have a bunch of little stuff that comes with the printer, and it would be able to fit all in here. And the cool part is this design, the way it's made, that it goes underneath this channel also. So it's much bigger than you would think inside of here, because it goes deeper in. So, and the cool thing about having trays is that if you have multiple printers, you can organize all your stuff, because you don't want to mix all your tools and parts from different printers into one place. This keeps it where everything from this printer stays with this printer. And even these guys here fit in here perfectly. Look at that. You got a nice little clean looking tray. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is the spool holder. And I don't really like where the spool holder is. And the reason I don't like where it is because it's too high up and the filament is trying to feed at too much of a sharp angle. And I know I can probably print something out that kind of guides it in here, but that's just not the best way, in my opinion, to fix this problem. So what we're going to try to do, and I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try to relocate the spool holder with this little part here. So this was printed on the Ender 2 and it turned out pretty well. And the way this works is it goes on the side here, somewhere back here, and then the original spool holder goes here, and the spool sits like right in front of the feeder here, or very close to it. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the back here and try to slide this piece in somehow. So we can probably take off this end cap. Yeah. So I got another idea. Instead of trying to slide the whole thing, the whole bracket in there through there, I'm just going to slide these little T-nuts right where I need them. But so now all we got to do is come up to it and tighten it right where it needs to be. So that should be much simpler than trying to fight with it. Alright guys, so I realized that I was actually putting the bracket on the wrong way over here. There's obviously a couple ways you can do it. It's supposed to go like that, so where it's kind of shooting more out, not up. Because at first I thought it was going like this, but then I realized it doesn't really fit in there correctly. But like this, it seems to be fitting perfect. So alright, and that's what it looks like. So it goes to the side here, just like that. So the only issue I see, potentially, is that you might have to move, this up when you're changing spools. So it does look like we might have to move the thing a little bit back because it's too close to this motor here. I don't like that. So, but that's a pretty simple process. We're just going to loosen this bolt here, and then we're just going to move it back to about right there. Should be perfect. It should never touch it, even if it's all the way at the corner there. So this thing is a pretty cool little holder. The printer does become a lot wider. So if I center the printer here, you can see, it sticks out past quite a bit. So I guess if you didn't have room for that, that wouldn't work. But honestly, for me, it's fine. And here, guys, you can see the whole printer, with that thingamajabber there. So what we're going to do next is actually upgrade the spool holder. So we got some more stuff for the spool holder. And this is when we finally come to the printed parts here. So I went ahead and left this on there because I wanted to show you guys how easy this mat makes it to take off prints. So this is not a huge surface area, but you can still get an idea of how easy it is. So we're just going to go ahead and peel it. And look at that. I mean, it's just very easy. And this is the plus of this magnetic mat here, is because you can take it off so easily, And on large prints, that have a lot of surface to the mat, it makes it kind of hard to take it off a regular printing bed. Why they're starting to put this in, I guess it's more friendly for beginners. So to put this thing on, you do have to line it up somewhat straight. Like right now, I just dropped it and it's definitely not in the right spot. It's all over the thing. So you kind of have to fight with it a little bit, but it's not that bad as it seems. And plus, most of the time, you don't even have to take off the whole thing. What you would do when your part is done printing, all you got to do is just lift up this edge and then kind of do that, take it off. See, because you're not disconnecting the back at all almost. Pop your print off and just put this back on. All right, so let's get to this print. So this is a spool holder. So the Ender 3 Pro printed this, and you can see it did an excellent job. Like, it does have a little bit of layer shifts here and there, but overall it looks great. So you can see that the Ender 3 can print large items while retaining structure very well. So here we have the supports, and these should just pop off, hopefully. Looks like we're gonna need to get our cutters to get it started here. So it's coming off, but it kind of glued on there a little bit more than I thought. I guess because it's been already quite a little bit of time since this got printed. If it was fresh, I think it'd come off a little easier. But yeah, you can see the bottom of that. And so what happens here, the bearings go on this side, and then this sits into here. So this is kind of cool because it printed as one piece, and all this right here is supports. And all down here is supports, and this is where the threads are. So it's coming off fairly easy, but you can see in there, there's our threads right there. Alright, so the supports actually popped off a lot easier once I did it off camera, but yeah, and then I had to trim it up just a little bit around here so I can start the nut. And here is the nut, and this was printed on the Ender 2, and I didn't use supports, that's why it looks a little weird here underneath, but you're not going to see that anyways. But let's go ahead and try and see how that goes on. It should be fine. There we go. And that's perfect. So basically this will just, you know, replace your spool holder. There are some supports right here, but I'm gonna leave those in because I like the way that looks. So here on the actual roller part, we're just gonna put 2 regular skateboard bearings in here. And that should fit pretty good. And that's it. And then this should go right in here. Just like that. And now our spool sits on top of this and it rolls really easy. So let's go ahead and put our new spool holder in, unscrewing this one. So I just realized that this is designed to stand up straight like this, but because I moved this on an angle here, now it's tilting. So it looks like this sits in there fine, nothing's gonna fall out. So let's go ahead and put it in there. So that fits perfect, as you can see, guys. So I'm not gonna use this spool because it has like a weird shape. It's not completely round. Well, we're gonna change to a regular spool here. And looks like we're going in just fine. And it spins really easy. So there is some drag because it's not completely up and down. There is a little bit of drag right here on this corner here, you know, because the spool wants to go that way, obviously, of gravity. But you can see if I just spin it up a little faster, it's pretty much perfect. So yeah, even though I didn't calculate that, that seemed to turn out pretty good anyways. So I'm pretty happy about that. All right, so I'm pretty excited to print something. I got this yellow PLA, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. Look how bright that is. Kind of wondering what kind of prints will come out of this thing. So we can go ahead and try our new spool holder. And as you can see, it fits through the motor here just fine. And this is where this knob comes in. That's really cool. So all I had to do is push it and turn it, and it grabbed it. And so then we're just gonna feed it right in. So obviously I still need to preheat my bed, so I guess I should go ahead and do that, or preheat the whole system here. So we're gonna go to prepare and then preheat PLA. All right, so it's hot, and we're gonna go ahead and push the filament through, and we should be oozing out the bottom, as you can see right there. So because we had black in there before, you want to get quite a bit of it out because the yellow will be kind of like a dark yellow because it's still mixing with black. And you can see there what I'm talking about. The yellow is still a little darkened. So what we're going to print today is I want to print the original little file that came with the Ender Pro, and it's called the Test Dog G-Code. Supposedly it's a pretty good print, so I guess we're going to see. I'm going to print this yellow, so we might not be able to see very well, but we can at least see what happens. Alright, and there it goes. I did level the bed, so it should be pretty good. Okay, I had a bunch of gunk stuck in there, so hopefully that's not going to mess up our print here. But I'm not sure exactly what this thing looks like. I don't remember. So our level looks pretty good, at least what I can tell, and it should be good to go. So we'll keep checking back at it and we'll see how it turns out. Alright guys, so the little doggy is done, and he ended up being a little bigger than I thought he would be. So I kind of made a little GoPro time lapse, so I'm not sure. I think the GoPro died halfway through, and I just used like little double-sided tape just to put it there temporarily. Alright, so I'm going to turn the printer off and we can look at this little dog here. So just glancing at him, he turned out really, really good. There seems to be no issue with retractions or anything. Alright, so let's peel him off here. Let's see how this will work. Oh yeah, look at that. That was so easy. So all I did is just pick this up and it broke them loose. So it looks pretty good overall. I mean, it actually looks amazing. There's nothing weird going on him at all. Honestly, that's pretty impressive. So whatever G-code this is, it's a really good one. So support came off pretty good. There's something a little bit still there. Yeah, and I don't think I had my bed leveled really good, guys. Look at that. Look at the bottom. I think I was a little far from the nozzle. So I'm actually really surprised how good that is. I don't know if you guys can see since it's all yellow, but hopefully you can see the quality on this thing is really good. It looks like we got our printer here tuned in pretty well if this dog printed that good. So now I got confidence to print, you know, much larger items. So yeah, it looks like the Ender 3 Pro is proving to be a excellent printer. So I definitely love this little box that we got here. And the filament being way over there seems to be a good place for it. We'll see how it goes over time. So overall, I think I'd have to say that this printer is ready to just print. So we worked out all the issues that were pretty obvious, and we did a few little upgrades here and there. So hopefully you guys found this video useful and interesting, or at least gives you an idea of what you can do to your printer. And if you have any suggestions that maybe what I should check for or do still on this printer, please let me know in the comments below. I have a project that I'm doing that I need this printing bed space because I wasn't able to print it until now, so I can't wait to use it for that. So I'll be printing more with this printer, and also I'll keep you guys updated if anything else I find or fix on this thing or upgrade. And I appreciate all you guys that watch these videos. And if you are new to 3D printing and you want to get a printer, I think Ender 3 is one of the best printers you can get for the money. So if you want to get a printer like this, I'll leave some links in the description. Check those out. And if you like this video, guys, hit that like button. And if you enjoy content like this and you're not subscribed, then hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.